Yeah! What's up, guys? Nick the Informative Fisherman, out here to play with my buddy Josh Parris on New Maloney's. A little post spawner right there. Nice fish. Nothing to brag about, but hey, I'll take her.
Yeah.
Now Josh, man, he's been catching a lot of freak fish with clients lately, so I think everybody's under this consumption, Josh, that assumption, not consumption. They're not eating it, they're assuming it. Coming out here thinking they're gonna catch a double, like how many double digits have you put clients on so far this year?
It's been a good year. Again, I think we're at 7 so far this year. And most of those were within about 30-day span. That pre-spawn bite right before they started hitting beds was good. I mean, there were big fish up and they were doing it. And then as soon as the beds hit, it started slowing down for sure.
Man, crazy. But so Josh has been doing a variety of swim bait stuff. There's top water starting to happen out here. There's a variety of bites going on. So I said, Josh, let's go play around. Let's shoot some footage. Whatever happens, happens. So hopefully you guys can learn something today. Believe it or not, we're going through some matted vegetation that was blowing into a corner. We're throwing, seeing big frogfish come out, and he's like, you got a flip rig with you? And I said, ironically, that's the one thing I didn't bring. I looked down, seen a 1/4 ounce nail shaky head, flipped it through, and I've caught 2 fish punching a shaky head. So talk about making things work. So hang with us, guys. I think it's gonna be a fun day.
This one, low guy. Oh. Do it. Another big one behind it too.
Yo!
Big spot.
Yeah, baby. Was I recording? No, I wasn't recording.
I was.
Ah, good.
I was looking right at it.
So, this little prototype test deal. This is the pulse tail line through by Savage Gear. Testing a couple of modifications on it to make a slow float model. Essentially, what's what some people refer to as a 0. So nice spotted bass on the pulse tail trout line through the OG. New colors are coming for this soon, guys. It's an awesome deal right here. I rigged a trap hook right off of there. I'll actually explain how I have this rig, and you can see the braid coming off the one hook right there. This is something me and Josh talk about a lot. Anytime we're talking swim baits, me and this guy, we go for hours and hours and hours. We should probably film it. We may bore you to death, but some of you would probably come out freakishly skilled afterwards. But maybe we'll have to do like one of our random 6-hour sessions where our wives are getting frustrated that we're on the phone so long.
Yeah.
You hang up. No, you hang up. All right, guys, let's do a little Maloney's breakdown. So Josh, let's just talk about May. What's typical for May? We're out here. What is today anyway? We middle of May yet? Beginning of May? Kind of.
I don't know where we are in May, to be honest. Guide life.
Fisherman life. Fisherman life. We never know what day
we're somewhere in May here, and
I know it's a Wednesday.
Come on, May 12th.
It is.
Is it May 12th?
May 12th.
Oh, it's May 12th.
So
hey, at least the old man knows. I told
in.
you he's sharp again.
Mid.
He can remember.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right.
So what's typical?
So typically, in all honesty, it seems like the last few years, I mean, it seems like we're going more and more towards things are starting earlier, to where we're starting to get shad spawn earlier, spawn starting earlier. But right now, typically, we are going to be post-spawn, shad spawn. Right about now is when it starts. Some years a little earlier, some years a little later. Seems like years we get a lot of water, it's a little later. Like this year, no water, it's going to be earlier. To where right now, like, I mean, as we saw shad today, we saw a lot of stuff today, but that's kind of the gist of what's going down. We got post spawn and we got shad spawn. The bluegill are also just starting their move up. As of today, I haven't bluegill. I've just started seeing them in the last week.
Yeah, 70-degree water temperature, and typically those bluegills do move up right around 70 at the smaller lake shallow systems I go on. They like to start their spawn right around 70 degrees. So if let's do this for example. If a person's coming out to Maloney's, what are 4 baits you could just suggest off the top in general just to get people bit?
Drop shot's gonna be number one. I mean, drop shot just always gets it done. I mean, if you're in May, you're seeing shad, you know, go with a shaddy color. Other than that, good green pumpkin, watermelon colors are gonna be good. Next bait I'm gonna have to go to is gonna be probably a single tail grub.
Single tail grub.
It's old school, I know. I'm going
on a jig head?
On a dart head.
On a darter head, how heavy?
Actually, let me, hold on, I'm lying. I throw them on a net head.
On a Ned head now.
I throw them on a weedless
I used to see you throw them on the darter head, so you've merged.
I've merged to the weedless with the little wire Ned head. That bait in cinnamon black flake. I don't care what time of year it is. I don't care anything about that. It just gets it done out on this lake.
Was that 3? Was that 3 baits or was that 2?
Okay. Drop shot, single tail grub, and then...
Give us, how about 2 hard baits?
I'm gonna go rip bait.
Jerk bait, all right.
Jerk bait does it all year long out here. I mean,
shallow diving, deeper diving.
I like shallow diving, to be honest. I prefer to run my shallower bite. A lot of times, I might not find as many fish, but I find better fish.
Cool. You can't say it on the show either, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last hard bait.
So the last hard bait. Last hard bait would probably be a square bill, to be honest.
Really?
Square bill.
You know what's funny? I don't think I've ever thrown a square bill on Maloney's.
I'll come back in a month.
Really? That fire?
Even right now.
So beginning of June, you're saying end of May, beginning of June, square bill.
We start doing a lot of square bills, and a lot of, like, we even start doing Magnum square bills. A lot of guys don't even imagine it. Don't get me wrong, that, like last year we had a lot of 5-pounders caught on that 1.5, but we also had a lot of 2 and 3-pounders caught on the, you know, crankbaits, the square bills that are this big, you know, the big giant 8.0 KVDs. And it's because the bluegill have moved up.
Yeah, just mashing the hatch.
For some reason, it seems like there was a tournament out here a while back, the Wild West, February. Kid cranked them all. It was a shallower diving crankbait that he was throwing, and I've done the same thing in February, March. There's fish that are already starting to kind of move up, start getting going. It's just a reaction for them. They're just reacting on it.
Crazy.
So I'm gonna add one more spinnerbait. You know, we've gotten so far into underspins and A-rigs. Yeah. Everybody figure out about spinnerbait.
I agree, man. Everybody forgets about the spinnerbait.
Yeah, spinnerbait just gets it done. He did not move on the initial hook set.
Well, Maloney's frogfish right there. Come off easy too. See that?
They don't.
California floor bass once again.
They don't quite know how to eat a frog here, but they want to.
A decent one. So for those of you watching, this is what shaky head punching's all about. People who talk about, am I on you?
No. Keep going. Go that way.
People who talk about light line, you can't fish light line. I fish 6-pound tests on the Delta all the time. People are like, you're crazy. I'm punching with 8-pound tests and a shaky head right now. Is this the preferred rig? No. Just learn how to use your drag, folks. Just gotta learn how to use your drag. Take your time. You don't need to get every bass in 10 seconds. Look, Josh.
There again. Oh,
look at them all. Look at them all down there.
That's big too.
Let's see.
Can he do it?
Oh! Got it. Boom, baby. Boom, baby. Thank you, buddy. You're not huge, but thank you, buddy. Wasn't going nowhere. I'll tell you what. Had him pinned. Thank you, bud. Land them, and then you just keep dragging the log and the fish right over to your buddy and your partner, just like this.
And they come down and go.
And they come down. They grab the big log.
Got the fish.
And grab the fish. You just got to just back off.
Yeah.
What's 8-pound test, dude? I'm all day like this. This is the technique. You got to fire that, 35, 45 foot in the air. Let that shaky head come right back through the net. Key.
Look at this.
Oh.
Look at this. Here comes. He's getting.
Oh, come on.
I grade him out.
Yeah. Woo. Not a huge one, but another spot on a big swim bait, baby. Yeah, get in there, Josh. I think there's a group of them, man. Should be a group of them. God, he drilled that trout.
I know, he smoked it, like surface smoked it.
Yep, that was sick. Got him.
Nice.
Big one. Good one. Oh my God, Josh, look at the school. Look at the school. Got him, get in there. I got it, go. Another big swim bait fish, baby. Yeah. All over. Got him. Coming past. Got him.
Hey, baby.
Yeah. That was sick. Yeah.
Figure 8 fish. That's how we do it. Nice spot.
So we just covered the baits for like basic bass fishing. What we were doing today, it's different. We were doing more of a big bait style approach. Josh and I are essentially kind of searching out the 5 biggest fish we could catch today for about the first 4.5, 5 hours. We didn't do an all day big bait day thing. We were having fun searching out different water. It wasn't a full day. He's got to run a trip tomorrow. We just like to come out and hang out with our boy. So one of the baits today that you could see was a really big player was the Savage Gear line through pulse tail trout. That's an 8-inch line through swim bait. This is the rainbow trout pattern. Bunch of new patterns coming out. We have our new ready to fish. That's for bouncing across the bottom. That already has the top hook and the stinger hook built into the back. The reason why I was throwing the line through version, I'm waking it across the surface. You're gonna hear swim bait videos. If you watch Josh's previous swim bait videos, Josh and I are always bouncing swim bait information back and forth off each other, and we're always talking about trap plates. And typically, if I'm fishing middle of the water column and there's nothing around, you're gonna see me throwing a glide bait a lot. And glide bait's been a big player lately too, right?
Glide bait's been a big player. In all honesty, it seems like it's year to year. There are some years where, like, if you'd asked me, you know, what, 3-4 years ago when we did our first video, I'd have been glide bait 100%. Shallow, deep, I mean, they were just on a glide bait bite.
Yeah, for sure.
This year, it's definitely been a bit more of a soft bait bite, but at the same time, that glide bait has its time and place, which is kind of coming. We're in May. They're getting a lot more reactive toward that. Glide bait definitely starts getting fish to pop on it.
Post spawn early summer here is great for
versus it. With the soft bait, we're looking for a natural, actual eat bite. They are looking to.
We were around more trout.
Yes, we're around more trout, as well as they're actually just looking. They're looking to eat that thing, versus a lot of times with glide bait, they're like, oh, what is that? Oh,
reacting.
Just coming up, like it's something coming by that they just can't help but swing on. To where there's certain scenarios like this afternoon where that's kind of the better bite. It's just the fish are kind of over their feed bite, they're hanging out, they're sitting in shade pockets, sitting on structure, and you're just getting that reaction out.
I want to cover something interesting. So you guys probably see Josh making posts all the time. If you follow Josh, you need to. I'll make sure all of his social media stuff's down here in the description, so go do that. But you're going to see Josh posing with a large variety of big baits, and oftentimes you'll see big boot tail style swim baits. He throws the Bait Smith, which is 9 or 10 inches, whatever that one is.
Like 9.5.
9.5, something like that. Another big swim bait. Josh is always either on the bottom, on the surface, against a wall, against a boulder, through a tree, on a bridge column. He's always offering that big fish a trap point when it comes to a big bait. The big bait game's entirely different. You're not looking for a lot of bites. You're just looking for big opportunities. For today, we didn't sack a mega bag of fish. No. I lost one around 9.
Yeah, we had some opportunities.
Had a couple of 6 and 7 pounders hit the big swim bait. That, I don't know if I got them on the GoPro or not. You'll see they just didn't stick. That's the way the big bait game goes. Yeah. I mean, we probably had over 10 bites on big baits, which is a really good day. Yeah. A really, really good day. And they just didn't stick, and that's part of the game. One other thing that you guys seen play a lot was a shaky head, and I happen to have this just tied on from fishing at my house. I would have used a flip rig for the blown in matted vegetation, but a shaky head is weedless, and it's the 1/4 ounce frenzy nail, and I was getting it through that mat, and it was actually a murderer, and it actually hooked the biggest fish of the day, ironically enough. Then what you guys seen Josh doing was throwing the ballum. Pick that up.
The ballum. This is a multi-joint bait, so a little bit different though. Very tight joints in it. You know, it's not your standard. You know, like the old BBZs and some of those baits had real wide joints. You know, meant for real, you know, swimming action. This is very tight, very erratic bait. A lot of what we were doing with this today is burn, burn, stop. You know, we're burn, 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 stop, burn, 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 stop. The other portion of it was when either I knew where there were fish, or when we had one chasing it in, we would actually start doing the figure eight, which...
Hold on, I'm gonna stop you right here. You guys see Josh doing the figure eight in this video. This is something a lot of people think only happens in Japan. Yeah. This guy's been doing it for about 3 years now, and he's been perfecting it over the last few years. And I asked Josh, do you even want to show the figure eighting? Is this something you want to keep secret? I'll tell you what, you see him catching on the figure eight. I have yet to catch a figure eight fish. Josh has got this dialed there. Believe it or not, there's cadence to the chaos, and there's a system of doing this, and how you do it on the trolling motor, and where you first slap your bait. We are going to do an elaborate video on this, maybe this year. We still may do it this year, on figure eighting over structure and cover and standing timber. Very, very complicated. I don't want to get into it, but explain why this bait is good for it.
So it just has the right action, as well as the treble hooks hanging from the bottom. We got 2. It's a smaller bait. They also make a 300 version, which has 3 treble hooks. The treble hooks is a major thing. I have figure eighted fish on the mag, on the Savage Gear line through. I have figure eight fished on a lot of stuff. But the hanging treble hook seems to be the deal, and then also just the action of the bait itself is that it does a very tight, very, you know, close action to where you can work this bait extremely fast without it blowing out. A lot of baits,
without a ton of drag on
without
your
a ton
rod
of drag as well. But a lot of baits, if you overpower them, they start to roll over, they start to do. This bait will keep its track the entire time. The figure eight is, it's really hard to find a bait to do it with that also will not foul while you're doing it. Is like, I've heard people talking about, oh, I'm doing it with glides and I'm trying to do it with this. Glides, it can be done. It's not that it can't be done, but
it takes a large bait and it has to run tight.
It has to run tight, and then the cadence changes that you're doing. This bait was, I mean, specifically made for doing that. That was Shimida over in Japan. Guy, he's the, I mean, it's founder as far as doing it for bass. As far as what I've seen nobody else really doing it.
This guy's been calling me for multiple years, like, I figure eighted, and this last week I figure eighted 5, I figure eighted 8, and he's getting this system dialed in, and he can explain it to me till he's blue in the face. And then I see it in person, then it's like everything that Josh is talking about is clicking. And we're gonna elaborate on that more for sure. Josh, how heavy a line you throwing that on, man? People are always curious.
So, to be honest, I switch back and forth. I have not completely settled. Okay, so originally 25-pound fluoro has been my go-to.
Because it's short impact, right?
It's short impact, as well as it just stands up to, and then the knot you tie, we'll talk about that in a second. But the knot you tie is also really important. But you are doing, when you're doing the figure eighting, you're doing a lot of back forth, back forth, back forth. So your line tie is actually doing this a ton.
Yeah, hard.
You know, and hard, a lot, to where last week I lost a really big one on the figure eight, in which snapped off at the boat. We chased her around, tried to get the bait back, couldn't. But to where I have done it on braid, I don't think there's 100% huge difference on what line you're doing on the figure eight. When you're doing the burn stop to the figure eight is where I do prefer fluoro 100%.
Yeah. So in this video, you guys are going to see Josh had about 5 fish hit the figure eight today, hooked 2, landed 1. The last one he hooked was about a 5-pounder. I couldn't get to her in time with the net. She didn't get up high enough. Okay, so and you also threw the DC frog in the matted cover. On Maloney's, believe it or not. The heaviest cover frog there is, that I co-designed along with Jose Chavez, the DC frog. We also threw the headbanger. Oh, I just got hit right there. The headbanger Spitfire. We didn't get any big ones at the end. I think if we would have went into the evening, we would have got some bigger ones.
For sure.
Or got out here earlier, but I always show up late and
well,
leave
and
early.
even just committed earlier as this morning, we were on the big fish bite. That's what we chased. You know, we chased it with the swim baits, the figure eighting, the frog. There's a little bit of a bite window that we kind of chased. If we had held the Spitfire more in the morning, obviously we would have had much more chances at, you know, hitting some fish. There's definitely right now some top water fish going. Spitfire is also an awesome bait for doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Number 4.
Getting it done.
Freaking pulse tail is on fire. Yeah. Look at that, over the top of the mat. Over the top of the mat. Dragging them over the mat on 8-pound head. I might as well flip this fish. Let's see. Don't break off. Oh! Testament to all you light line fishermen out there. Catching them on big swim baits and also catching them on a shaky head. Can't rule out nothing. Got to be able to use all your tools, guys.
Everything.
So, what you guys didn't see is I had a trick worm on, and I lost my trick worm, not big, and I threw up in the mat, and I put on an armor worm because I lost my trick worm earlier, and I threw up in a mat, and I had one grab it coming out of the mat, and I yanked, and the wind wrapped the tip of my rod, and literally, how big do you think that fish was?
It was 8 or 9, dude. That was a big fish. I mean, her mouth, no joke, I mean, was this when she came up and
So ripping it out of the mat from the other one hitting it, it fell off the side of the mat, and I was tip wrapped. I felt the fish. I couldn't move any line, and the fish come up and threw it. Super brutal, man, but that was a monster. Hopefully I'll get another shot like that. Ah! Coming around the left side. It's like the routine we got going over here. The one behind it's like 5 pound under it. Oh, that's a big spot. Yeah. Driver sider.
You gonna driver sider?
Maybe. If I can get in behind the console here. Maybe. Open up. There we go. Yeah.
There we go.
That's a long one, huh?
Yeah.
Man, oh man, that is fun. Thank you. All right, guys, my shaky head setup today was on the Sticks number 2. That's the hybrid spin. I'm just using a 30 size or a 3000 size, whatever you want to call the spinning reel, with 8-pound tactical fluorocarbon. I think it's great for shaky heads. You can throw it in and out of heavier cover and hit them a little bit harder with the 8. If I'm throwing exposed hook stuff, I typically throw the finesse stick and I drop down to 6-pound line. What I was throwing the big pulse tail today on is that same line, but tactical 20-pound, and this is on the Sticks Power Stick. This is the number 6 in the lineup. Really good for, you know, 8-9-inch swim baits, probably down to 6-inch swim baits. Very versatile setup. You can throw A-rigs on it, you can punch on it, you can frog on it, throw big rats, everything you want to do. That's a 7'6". Really good for launching a big bait out there. So those were the setups I was throwing. Most of them are falling through.
I'm doing the keeping it, that last one was the same thing, keeping it up against the mat.
Yeah, shaking on the bottom.
Yeah.
Big spot. Oh yeah, damn right a big spot.
Heck yeah.
I was sleeping.
There we go. There we go, boys and girls. Ooh, hook just fell out. And that is a beautiful Maloney spot. Got her. Oh, she's off.
So around lunchtime, we wanted to go hit up the crappie. Josh was on an interesting school of crappie, whacking the crappie. Well, we get out there, we're using the life scope, we're doing it offshore in the shade line of the bridge, out in open water. It's Really unique system in the live scope. You can see the fish where they're actually swimming, and we seen them chasing the bait to where we'd follow them, track them down, follow them, track them down. Yeah. We would catch the bass. Ironically, the crappie were being weirdly selective. I got 2 gorillas. I'll show you those.
Yeah.
But we were actually whacking the spots, throwing just a fly, the 1/8 ounce fly, just casting it out on the sticks number 2 and number 1, just throwing it out there on really light line, shaking it, trying to get crappies. And I think we caught 3 spots, probably around 3 pounds, 3.5 pounds.
We caught a lot of spots.
A lot.
Okay? We caught a lot of spots, a couple of crappie. The crappie seemed to be suspending below the spots for the most portion, but at the same time, yeah, I mean, we had a blast doing it. I will say, I mean, if you guys haven't looked into I'm not sponsored by them whatsoever. I don't have any affiliations, but I will tell you guys, if you guys haven't seen that forward-looking imaging yet, it's a game changer. I mean, it really changes, you know, like today. I mean, we follow in open water. We're over 120, 150 foot of water, and we're following the schools of fish. We're watching them chase the bait. We're watching them, you know, to be able to do that has really started to change the game. I mean,
oh God, yes.
Today we wouldn't have been able to even do what we did today as far as actively targeting fish versus just blind casting, you know, hoping for a Hail Mary here or there, versus we're like, oh, here they come, here they come.
Yeah.
Throw the fly out there and whoop, I hook up. Nick, we had a triple at one point between the 2 of us. I hook one, you hook one, I get mine in.
I didn't even get mine off.
Yeah, you don't even get yours off. I'm already re-hooked up. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's definitely something to check out, guys.
And this is in the middle of nowhere. So yeah. I want to say, this is actually interesting because we have no affiliation to electronics at the moment. I used to be with Garmin, I left. But there's companies, each company, Humminbird doesn't have one out yet, but Garmin, Lowrance does.
Yeah.
This is really game-changing technology, guys. If you're going to get into competitive bass fishing, I really suggest you look into it. It's expensive.
Yeah.
It really is, but if you are going up on a lake tournament that's offshore and there's a guy who's using forward-looking sonar and is comfortable fishing offshore and is utilizing it, he is going to have a massive advantage over you. And I'm not saying to eliminate them from tournaments. Technology is an amazing thing. Save up and get that sucker. I don't have one, and now I'm gonna save up and go get me one.
Well, the other portion too is shallow water, like Delta, where we turn off our graphs. We don't use our graphs on the Delta. Now in shallow water, I mean, even back here, we were in, you know, 3, 4, 5 foot water. We're watching fish swim around the boat.
Dude, we were watching fish follow the Spitfire.
Yes, we're watching fish
3 feet.
Follow top water, come up, dip down, come up, you know, like almost getting to where you can almost predict when you're gonna get a top water bite. It's
ridiculous. It's the confirmation that you're around them is everything. And I always say throw stuff to where you can get bit by fish, then go bigger to see if you can figure out fish and get your confidence to find that going. If you can't afford it, always try to cover water fast. I tell people to throw a buzz bait. Every time a fish misses a buzz bait, most likely it's a big one. Yeah. Save that as a big fish spot, cover, and then go back and finesse fish those areas. But this is crazy. You don't need to throw a bait at all. You can pre-fish just on something like that and look and be like, yeah, they're here.
Yeah.
And then come back game day without ever having to make a cast. Pretty freaking cool, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another big spotty. Yeah. Yeah. That's fun. I want to flip this one on 4-pound test, huh?
Yeah.
4-pound test crappie fishing. Same stuff the crappies are feeding on. So are these big spotted bass. That's another boxer, dude.
Another chunk.
Oh yeah, she needs to go in the box. Oh, like, show her over here. Show her this way too. Oh, little TikTok, Instagram love, and show her back to the big camera. All that love all around.
Another solid fish.
Yeah. Well, Josh, I needed a double whopper, man. I'm slimming out over here.
Tell me.
Should we wrap this thing up then?
I think we're good for the day. We get a hell of a day, man. I mean, that was a fun day.
Good times.
Yeah.
InformativeFisherman.com, Informative Fisherman Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, guys. Make sure to follow my man Josh Parris right here. Come out, book a trip with this guy. You'll learn a ton. Absolutely worth it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.